Good morning? Oh no, not today. Because New York just became the stage for one of the wildest sports scandals ever. Federal agents dropped the bombshell of a historic arrest, busting open a criminal empire that apparently had both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra on speed dial. According to Kash Patel, whose statement sent Vegas into meltdown mode, names like Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier are now in custody. And while the internet's been losing its mind over rumors of 200-plus NBA players being hauled off in handcuffs, that part's pure clickbait fiction. Still, investigators say what they found inside that casino isn't just bad. It's reputation-shattering, the kind of scandal that could rattle the NBA down to its very bones. The chaos officially ignited on October 23, 2025, when federal agents coordinated arrests across 11 states, unsealing indictments that named a head coach, an active player, and a couple of retired stars. The list of charges? Wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, you name it, it's there. And before you drown in the headlines and hashtags, let's get one thing straight. No, there wasn't some epic 200-player Vegas party bust. That's internet drama, not evidence. So let's clear up the rumor mill before it spirals further. No, the FBI didn't round up 200 NBA players in some wild Vegas raid. The real number? Just over 30 arrests and only 3 big names made. The headlines: Chauncey Billups, head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers; Terry Rozier, the Miami Heat's fiery guard; and ex-player Damon Jones. But don't roll your eyes yet. This wasn't some casual card night gone wrong. These were invite-only underground poker games hosted in penthouses and mansions from Manhattan to Miami, Vegas, and the Hamptons, where the stakes were sky-high and the games were dirtier than they looked. Forget friendly poker. These setups were precision-engineered heists. We're talking X-ray tables, marked cards only visible through special lenses, hidden cameras feeding data to accomplices, and rigged shuffling machines straight out of a spy movie. Federal agents say these games have been running since 2019, siphoning off at least $7 million, and that's just what they can prove. One poor soul lost $1.8 million in a single night. Imagine watching your fortune evaporate hand by hand while everyone else at the table already knows your cards. And if you dared to walk away without paying? Oh, you didn't. Because these games were allegedly bankrolled by La Cosa Nostra, the Italian mob, and let's just say they don't exactly send polite reminders when collecting debts. And here's where the plot flips from shady poker rooms to straight-up game manipulation, the kind that makes every fan question what they've been watching. Enter Operation Nothing But Bet, the FBI's sinister sequel to Operation Royal Flush. While the first case was all about rigged poker and mob-backed scams, this one hits the hardwood, actual NBA games and sports books. Federal prosecutors call it one of the boldest sports corruption schemes since betting went legal across the U. And honestly, they're not exaggerating. From December 2022 to March 2024, a crew of 6 alleged masterminds ran what was basically insider trading for basketball. They used secret team info, injuries, rotations, game plans to place massive, foolproof bets. We're talking millions in dirty profits off just 7 rigged games. Take Terry Rozier, for example. Back when he was balling with the Charlotte Hornets, prosecutors say he pulled off the most audacious stunt yet. On March 20th, 2023, during a game against the Pelicans, he allegedly tipped off his crew that he'd fake an early exit. True to his word, he checked out after just 9 minutes, giving his betting buddies the green light to hammer the unders on his stats. Points, rebounds, assists, all easy money because he never played long enough to hit them. The payoff? Over $200,000 cashed in overnight. And spoiler alert, Rozier wasn't the only one running plays off the court. And just when you thought the script couldn't get messier, here comes the plot twist straight out of a mob thriller. Damon Jones, former NBA sharpshooter turned unofficial Lakers assistant in 2023, allegedly decided to cash in on his connections. According to investigators, Jones leaked top-secret info that LeBron James would be sitting out a February 2023 Lakers vs. Bucks matchup with an injury. Now, let's set this straight. LeBron did nothing wrong. His injury was real. His rest was legit. But Jones? He allegedly took that privileged detail, whispered it to his betting buddies before the news went public, and handed them a golden ticket to easy cash. While fans were still setting their fantasy lineups, these guys were already placing bets knowing the king wouldn't even touch the floor. And he wasn't the only one dealing in secrets. Chauncey Billups, Hall of Famer and head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, is accused of leaking insider info about players who'd miss a March 2023 matchup against the Chicago Bulls. Tip that let his co-conspirators hit the betting lines before anyone else even knew. Here's where it all connects. The poker scam and the betting hustle weren't two separate stories. They were two halves of the same con. Jones, along with Eric Ernest and Shane Hennon, allegedly played double duty, laundering the dirty money from their insider bets through those rigged poker games. The result? A slick, multi-layered crime web stretching from high-roller casinos to NBA locker rooms, all for millions in dirty profit. When the FBI dropped the bomb on October 23, 2025, Director Kash Patel called it the NBA's insider trading scandal, linking it straight to La Cosa Nostra. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. The deeper this goes, the more it's forcing everyone to ask the real question. Did the NBA's love affair with gambling open the door for all of this chaos in the first place? Hold on to your remote. After PASPA fell in 2018 and states raced to legalize sports betting, the NBA practically married the sports books, cutting deals with MGM Resorts, DraftKings, FanDuel, and a parade of other betting platforms. You can't watch a game now without plastered sportsbook ads, announcers yammering about lines and live odds blinking on the screen. The league has fully embraced gambling as a cash cow. Back in 2014, well before PASPA was struck down, Adam Silver even penned an op-ed in the New York Times pushing for federal legalization with tight regulations. His pitch was simple: betting happens anyway, so bring it above board. Regulate it, and use legal data to spot shadiness and protect the game's integrity. Sounds reasonable on paper, right? But now, with this explosive scandal that puts NBA figures at the center of schemes exploiting legal betting markets, plenty of people are asking the obvious. Did the NBA pry open Pandora's box? Did the league's full-throated embrace of gambling make corruption more likely? This isn't just a few rogue actors. It hits the core of what makes sports meaningful. If fans can't trust the fairness of outcomes, why even care? Let's peel back the curtain and see exactly how these schemes worked, because the planning, the execution, and the tech behind them make the whole mess even uglier. Buckle up. This next part peels back even more mind-blowing tricks from the mob's playbook. We kick off with Operation Royal Flush, the rigged poker ring, because this slice of the saga reads like something Hollywood would steal. Recall the HSI special agent at that press conference saying that, with the alleged involvement of 3 La Cosa Nostra families, an NBA head coach who's a Hall of Famer, and former players, years of painstaking investigation felt straight out of a film. Picture the settings: high-rise apartments in Manhattan, penthouses in Miami, luxury hotel suites in Las Vegas, and sprawling Hamptons estates. Organizers rented these venues expressly for the games, manufacturing an air of exclusivity and glamour. The entire setup was designed to convince victims they were part of something rare and elite. That's where the NBA connections mattered. Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones allegedly served as the indictment's so-called face cards. What's that mean? Put simply, they were bait. Their job was to lure wealthy marks, big spenders starstruck by the chance to play cards with famous athletes. Now let me walk you through the actual cheating techniques, because the technical sophistication is jaw-dropping, even if the ethics are non-existent. First, shuffling machines were modified with X-ray capabilities. Second, decks were marked in ways only visible through special contact lenses or glasses. To ordinary sight, every card looked ordinary. You could hold a card to the light, scrutinize it, and see nothing suspicious. But with those special lenses, invisible markings on each card's back spelled out the identity of every card. So while a mark guessed at opponents' hands by betting tells and body language, The conspirators already knew the truth. Hidden. Cameras recorded every deal from disguised nooks, sending live feeds to accomplices who relayed card info back through coded gestures, subtle earpieces, or encrypted messages. Complicit dealers executed sleight of hand when required, and tables, and chip trays were modified to expose card positions. Victims chalked their losses up to bad luck, never guessing they'd been structurally defeated by a machine-like crew that harvested their money with clinical precision and remorse. And here's where the whole thing goes from crooked to downright cinematic. Those mob-backed poker games weren't just rigged. They were engineered to rob players blind. Hidden cameras tucked into smoke detectors and fancy art pieces filmed every single card as it hit the table. That footage streamed straight to accomplices in another room who whispered updates back to the cheaters through coded gestures or slick little earpieces. Dealers? Oh, they were part of the act too, shuffling fate itself, stacking good hands for the house players, and feeding mediocrity to the unsuspecting rich guys. With X-ray tables, marked cards, complicit dealers, and spy tech worthy of a James Bond reboot, the victims never stood a chance. These games were mathematically unwinnable. Add a few famous faces at the table, endless champagne and that high-roller Vegas energy, and boom, you've got a psychological trap dressed up as a party. Then comes Tim Donaghy, the ex-NBA ref who actually went down for betting on games years ago, and now he's sounding the alarm. His take? We're only at the tip of the iceberg. He says once these guys start flipping to save themselves, they'll spill everything, every name, every detail, every dirty deal. And when that happens, the fallout won't just hit a few gamblers. It's going to shake the entire foundation of pro basketball, because that's how organized crime works. It doesn't just play the game, it owns it. See, the mob's playbook isn't about quick hits. It's about owning you. They don't just want one big payday. They want a pipeline, a relationship they can squeeze season after season until there's nothing left to take. And that brings us to the darker, quieter operation. Nothing but bet. The insider wagering scheme that makes the poker games look like child's play. Those smoky, glamorous card nights were flashy, sure, but this was far more sinister because it hit basketball's sacred core, the integrity of the games themselves. From December 2022 to March 2024, a network of insiders, people with privileged access to confidential team info, allegedly turned that knowledge into their own sports betting goldmine. Injury reports, rest schedules, player rotations, all the stuff the public didn't know yet, became ammunition. It was insider trading, NBA edition. Take February 9th, 2023, Lakers versus Bucks, a primetime matchup plastered across national TV. The world didn't know that LeBron James would be sitting out with an injury. But Damon Jones, serving as an unofficial Lakers assistant, allegedly did. He leaked it to his circle before the public announcement, letting them hammer bets knowing the king wouldn't play. By the time the injury news dropped and the odds shifted, their cash was already locked in at prime value. Then there's March 20th, 2023, Hornets versus Pelicans, the night Terry Rozier allegedly turned his game into a payday. Prosecutors say he planned an early exit, playing only 9 minutes before faking an injury, just long enough to make his prop bets tank. His childhood friend, Dairo Laster, aka Nero Paiso or Peso, dumped huge money on the unders for Rozier's stats. And surprise, surprise, with Rozier out early, every single bet hit. The result? Thousands made in minutes, while fans thought they were just watching a bad night on the court. So those under bets, practically free money. The indictment even calls out a March 2023 showdown between the Portland Trail Blazers and Chicago Bulls, where Chauncey Billups allegedly slipped insider info that key players would sit or intentionally tank. That leak handed his crew a golden opportunity to clean up on the betting markets. Easy wins wrapped in dirty secrets. But here's where the web widens. Enter John Tay Porter, not one of the 34 people cuffed in the October 23rd, 2025 sting, but absolutely tangled in the same net. The former Toronto Raptors forward was banned for life earlier in 2024 after the NBA caught him leaking insider info, intentionally underperforming to rig prop bets. and even betting on games himself, the league's ultimate sin. He later pled guilty to federal wire fraud conspiracy, admitting he was drowning in gambling debt and being squeezed by people with organized crime ties. The pressure got so intense, he told investigators, that he feared for his own life and his family's. Porter's case might not sit squarely inside this new round of indictments, but make no mistake, it's the same storm, just an earlier thunderclap. His cooperation likely helped the feds connect dots, linking the mob-backed poker scams to insider betting that stretched across states and seasons. The picture now is chillingly clear. Years of careful investigation, dozens of key players, and a scandal that threatens not just reputations, but the very soul of the NBA. And now, it's time to talk about the fallout, for the accused, for the league, and for the sport itself. Now comes the fallout, and trust me, this part hits harder than any buzzer beater. Right after the arrests, the NBA world went silent, jaws on the floor. Chauncey Billups was picked up in Portland, released on bond, and slapped with strict conditions. No gambling, limited travel, and an indefinite leave from the league. The Trailblazers quickly named Tiago Splitter as interim head coach, while the legal storm brews. For Billups, this is a staggering collapse from grace. A man who once lifted the 2004 NBA championship trophy, snagged Finals MVP, and earned a spot in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He'd built a second act as a respected coach. Till now, the basketball world is torn. Some call it unthinkable. Others are cautiously waiting to see what the courtroom reveals. But let's be real. Guilty or not, the shine on his legacy is already scratched beyond repair. Then came the panel talk. The analysts, the players, the legends, all weighing in like stunned family at an intervention. One of them put it bluntly, "Man, I've played cards, spades, tonk, and we've all gambled a little. But this is different. And they're right. It's not about a casual locker room poker game. It's about power, greed, and addiction. Because here's the hard truth. Even when you're pulling $26 million a year, that itch doesn't go away. For someone like Terry Rozier, the rush might have meant more than the money. Gambling addiction doesn't care about your paycheck, your fame, or your highlight reels. It can make even the richest player risk everything for one more hand. It's a brutal truth. Gambling addiction doesn't care how rich or famous you are. It grabs hold and drives people into catastrophic choices that defy logic. And if referees ever got tangled in that web, game over. The league's credibility would implode overnight. We've already seen how ugly that can get. Remember Tim Donaghy, the ref who bet on his own games from 2003 to 2007? That scandal nearly torched the NBA's integrity and forced massive overhauls in referee oversight. Now imagine history repeating itself. More refs compromised. More calls skewed. More fans questioning if the game is even real. The trust the NBA runs on could crumble. But the drama didn't stop on the court. Enter Stephen A. Smith dropping gasoline on the fire. He connected the timing of these arrests to politics, declaring on live TV, "Trump is coming," and hinting that the administration might be using federal law enforcement to flex its muscle over outspoken athletes and leagues. Agree with him or not, he made one point that everyone had to admit: seeing the FBI director personally hold a press conference about a sports gambling case. That's unheard of. Stephen A. doubled down, calling it deliberate. Not coincidence, not protocol, but a statement. "We've seen athletes arrested. We've seen scandals before," he said. "But never this. Never the director of the FBI stepping up to the mic. That's not business as usual." Love him or hate him, his message landed. This isn't just about gambling or basketball anymore. It's about power, politics, and the uncomfortable reality that the line between them might be thinner than ever. Call it political. Call it conspiratorial. Either way, this scandal has cracked open something way bigger than basketball. It's no longer just about a few bad bets. It's about power, accountability, and the murky overlap between sports, gambling, and government muscle. Right now, the NBA is standing right in the crossfire. Commissioner Adam Silver and his team are staring down the toughest chapter in league history. On one side, they've raked in hundreds of millions through partnerships with gambling giants. MGM, DraftKings, FanDuel. The money's real, the profit's massive. But on the other, the very soul of the game, its integrity, is now under siege. integrity is now under siege.